So next we are diving into the royal bleeders. In this lecture we will be covering the genetics, diagnostics and clinical management of hemophilia A and B. The fundamental question we are going to answer today is, what happens when the intrinsic factory is missing its genetic blueprint? Let's start our investigation with a clinical case. Our patient is Aryan, who is 4 years old. The inciting event was a minor trip and fall in the living room, resulting in zero skin breakage. Despite this, his clinical presentation is a tense, warm, agonizing right knee swelling developing within 1 hour. Our diagnosis is massive hemarthrosis, meaning deep tissue or joint bleeding. This is an urgent pathology requiring immediate intervention. When we look at Aryan's lab work, we see a very specific pattern. His platelet count is normal, his bleeding time or BT is normal, his BT, which tests the extrinsic pathway, is also normal. However, his APTT, which tests the intrinsic pathway, is massively prolonged. The diagnostic conclusion here is an isolated defect in the intrinsic pathway. To understand why this happens, we must contrast primary and secondary hemostasis. Primary hemostasis relies on platelets and stops superficial and mucosal bleeds such as petechia and epistaxis. Aryan's status for primary hemostasis is completely normal. Secondary hemostasis relies on coagulation factors and stops deep tissue and joint bleeds. Aryan's status here is broken. Here is your clinical pearl for the day. This is exactly why Aryan doesn't have petechia or mucosal bleeds. Platelets stop surface bleeds, factors stop joint bleeds. Now let's examine the genetic blueprint, which follows an X-linked recessive inheritance pattern. In males who have an XY chromosome pair, having just one defective copy equals full-blown disease. This is because there is no backup blueprint available. In females who are XX, having one defective copy plus one healthy copy simply makes them an asymptomatic carrier. This genetic pattern brings us to the famous royal legacy. Queen Victoria was a carrier, and she passed this to the Romanovs, ultimately leading to Alexei suffering from hemarthrosis. Looking at the missing factors in the intrinsic pathway, hemophilia A means the patient is missing factor 8. This is the classic form and accounts for 80% of cases. Hemophilia B means the patient is missing factor 9, which is also known as Christmas disease. Your key takeaway for this slide, because both factor 8 and factor 9 live exclusively in the intrinsic pathway, only the APTT is prolonged. The PT and BT remain completely untouched. When faced with a prolonged APTT, our diagnostic cheat code is the mixing study. We must ask, is it a genetic deficiency or a rogue autoimmune inhibitor? We take Aryan's blood, which has the prolonged APTT, and mix it with healthy blood containing normal factors. In path 1, we see a correction because the healthy blood provides the missing factor 8. The diagnosis is true hemophilia, which is a deficiency. In path 2, we see no correction. This happens because a rogue antibody attacks and destroys the newly introduced factor 8. The diagnosis here is a coagulation factor inhibitor. If we don't manage this condition properly, patients face the orthopedic nightmare of hemophilic arthropathy. The pathogenesis happens in 4 steps. First, RBCs pool in the synovial space and lyse. Second, this causes massive iron deposition into the synovial lining. Third, this leads to severe chronic inflammation and synovial hypertrophy. And fourth, ultimately there is complete destruction of the articular cartilage, leading to permanent fusion. So how do we fix the blueprint? The primary method is direct replacement through an intravenous infusion of pure recombinant factor 8 or 9 concentrates. For patients with mild hemophilia A, we can use the endothelial squeeze. We administer desmopressin or DDAVP, which forces endothelial cells to dump their hidden reserves of factor 8 directly into the blood. To wrap up today's clinical profile, a classic hemophilia patient presents with a normal BT, a prolonged APTT, and deep joint bleeds. But I want to leave you with a question to ponder. What if a patient has a long APTT and a long bleeding time? What if their joints are completely fine but their mucosal surfaces constantly bleed? We will answer exactly that in our next episode when we cover von Willebrand disease, the most common inherited bleeding disorder on the planet.